As a gang investigator, has music ever become part of your investigations?
Yes.
Tell the jury, how does music become a part of your investigations?
In gang culture and in rap music, a lot of times some of the artists either highlight, taunt, or humiliate their opposition through music. And I think it's part entertainment, but from the position of an investigator.
I'm going to object from the position of investigator.
Well, I can.
This is not relevant from the position of investigator to go to what the jury is hearing about the allegations.
Speak as your expertise as a gang expert.
You want me to repeat what I just?
No. Your Honor, I'm also going to object. This is outside of his expertise as a gang expert. Now we're talking about musicology and lyrics, and that is outside his expertise.
Overruled.
I think you can continue.
As rephrased by you.
Okay. As a gang expert, tell the jury how music can sometimes be involved in gang culture and rap, and how those two can coincide.
In gang culture and rap music is sometimes used to taunt, humiliate, and highlight some of their actions or to humiliate their opposition. A lot of times it's almost as if no one knows about it, then it didn't happen. So it's an opportunity to showcase what we did or to highlight what we did.
Objection on commenting on someone's intent, Your Honor. 704.
Sustained.
So don't what have you found? Let me ask you this. You talked about sometimes music can highlight, taunt, and humiliate. How have you seen examples of that as you've investigated, as a gang investigator? How have you seen that type of highlighting, taunting, and humiliation in music?
You said, how have I seen it?
Yes.
For example, the song Get It Back in Blood. Get It Back in Blood is basically celebrating retaliation, illustrating to anybody that I'm going to get it back in blood. You do something to me, I'm going to retaliate to get it back in blood. And it basically spells it out in the song.
And as a law enforcement officer, or a gang investigator specifically, when you're doing your investigation, do you look for music and then start your investigation, or are you investigating crime?
Objection asked and answered previously.
Well, I don't know the answer to that because I wasn't here when he testified previously.
I don't recall specifically. That's all I'll say. I can't recall if he specifically talked about it. I don't recall.
Do you recall whether you already talked about this?
Judge, I've been here 3 times. I don't. I'm trying to keep up myself.
Okay, well, yeah. Why don't you just, if you need to hit that briefly, to
just very
go ahead
quickly.
and do that.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Do you, when you're investigating, do you look for music and say, let me investigate this person, or does the music somehow come a part of the investigation?
Relevance, Your Honor.
Overruled.
We don't chase music, we chase crime. And through our investigation, all things are on the table. My job, when I work...
To what his job is, Your Honor, this is not appropriate.
Okay. In a song, when you may listen to a song that might have evidence of whether it's a crime or what you call highlighting, taunting, or humiliation, is the entire song often the subject of the humiliation, taunting, and highlighting, or might there be certain portions?
In regard to the characterization of question, evidence, perhaps information.
Sustained.
When you're hearing a song, does the entire song always humiliate, taunt, and highlight, or could there be portions of the song that humiliate, taunt, and highlight?
Just a portion. It might be a subliminal message, a small snippet.
704, Your Honor. It's the same thing, the intent.
Overruled.
And talk to the jury a little bit about subliminal messaging and how that what that looks like in a song.
Beyond expertise. We never had a Daubert hearing on
Yes,
this.
we did.
Not
Your
on
Honor,
this.
I have the Daubert order.
All right, we didn't have to take either a break or approach. Everybody knew, right, that the state was at least going to offer investigator Dennis to testify about the lyrics, right?
I did. But what I was not aware of.
This just seems like the kind of thing that if y'all wanted the court to be having looked at this, you could have given me a heads up on.
I was unaware that there would be testimony as to, oh, this is decoded messages. That was never
Well,
discussed.
all right, no, but I ruled on that, and I sustained the objection on that, and Ms. Hylton understands that. So on the broader topic of, is he even qualified to testify about lyrics as a part of gang investigations, which I understand y'all now asserting that was never covered.
I'm not asserting that. What I understood was Detective Dennis, over objection, would testify, in this song, this is said. This lyric is said. That's what I believe the lyric is. That's the lyric in this song.
Right.
That's it. Now we're getting into, oh, we're sending messages.
No, we're not going to.
I understand. That's what I was objecting
She's not,
to.
right. And so is there any other objection to him being able to testify about using lyrics in his investigations, in his opinion, which is only his opinion, as to what significance that has to his investigations?
Well, I'm not waiving my objections because I've objected to it, but that's what I believed was going to be testified to. But just that
Understood, but I'm
limited
asking,
amount.
it seemed at the bench that some people were maybe saying, we don't believe that he was ever qualified as an expert to be able to testify to any extent about lyrics. If I'm just misunderstanding, then please correct me, but we don't need to find the hearing transcript and sort it out if y'all aren't maintaining that.
I don't think that you're incorrect. I think you're correct. That's what we said at the
Okay.
bench. And just, don't want to seem like we're being cagey about it, but it was in December of 2022.
Okay,
when we
well,
had
you
the
know,
Daubert hearings.
it may be
just-
that the easier thing to do is to just bring him in and do this little part of it now. I don't mind doing that if y'all,
I don't want to speak for everyone else. If there is a rough of the finding
I
in the
don't know.
Daubert, perhaps that might be
Oh,
helpful.
I've looked at the finding. That doesn't, I mean.
Well, not
that-
the order.
It's the ruling.
Okay.
It appears to be just the ruling, not the actual hearing itself. I can email that to everybody.
I'm not sure.
That might be helpful.
Well, y'all can certainly look at it, but that won't take very long. And then if anybody wants, we can just have him come testify outside the jury's presence, and I'll make a determination as to whether he has the necessary expertise to be able to testify in the way that was about to be asked.
And Your Honor, to be clear, it's not about the lyrics, it's about gang promotion in the music. So it's not specifically about, I think maybe Mr. Weinstein said musicology. We're not talking about.
I know that, which is why I overruled that objection. A rough of the Daubert hearing. What we've got a rough of so far is some of his trial testimony. So I'm going to recess for a few minutes. It looks like y'all are maybe trying to pull it up from the live stream, which is fine if you find it. But I'm going to recess while y'all do that. And if any of the defendants need to use the restroom, y'all go do that as well.
So understanding the court's ruling in regards to Detective Dennis not being able to testify about subliminal messages or anything like that, and just going really to the basic issue of what he was qualified for, I'm just going to take my direction from the transcript that was thankfully sent to us by Ms. Pressfield, as well as the court's actual order. Let me say first that the Daubert hearings were held initially back in December of 22, but I think Detective Dennis, if I'm remembering correctly, was one of those who we weren't able to do then, so he may have been in 2023.
Okay.
That notwithstanding, I don't have any recollection of the detective being questioned or talking about his ability to interpret lyrics as part of his expertise. And so if we're relying on what the court ordered or what the court ruled, I look at page 6 of the court, and I know you have it in front of you.
I do.
The court's order, which was drafted by the state.
It's adopted by the court, though, so that's
Right.
really neither here nor there. Go ahead.
Right. And so I just know that there is nothing in there where he is qualified to testify about anything in regards to any lyrics, in regards to interpretation of rap lyrics, nothing in regards to his training or his qualification thereof. So we maintain our position that he is not qualified to testify about what the state intends to qualify.
I thought that what y'all were looking back at was the live stream of the Daubert hearing.
We couldn't find it.
Okay. Well, the order on page 5 says that Detective Dennis also, quote, has extensive experience in evaluating their social media and communication practices, unquote. So if nobody can answer for me one way or another what it covered, and you maintain that you don't think it covered this, or you don't know what it covered, I'm happy to just have him come in here and let's hear his expertise on that and go on with it.
We're fine, because we do not accept that when the court says communication patterns that they're talking specifically about rap lyrics. That's our position.
I don't know. Let's get him in here. If nobody can remember. And we don't have a transcript. Yeah, I need the detective, please. And Ms. Hylton, did either of y'all handle the Daubert on this witness?
No, Your Honor. And what he was qualified in is a gang expert, and I am positive he talked about how gang members use music.
Were you there for it?
I was present.
Okay.
And
is this from your memory?
This is from my memory, how music can play a role in gang promotion, how music can play a role in gang, in the promotion of the gang. And that is what we're talking about. We're not talking about lyrics and musicology, but how does music play a role in the game?
Do you recall the Daubert hearing
November.
involving you
Yes.
in this case?
Yes.
Do you remember whether you testified to your expertise and experience in terms of looking at lyrics and songs and using those in your gang investigations?
Yes.
Okay. Given that, anybody want to voir dire him on that topic, not his expertise, but whether he in fact testified about that already in the Daubert hearing?
Can I say something else? We talked about lyrics the last time I was here with the halftime song, me and Mr. Adams. Also, the last time I testified, the second time.
Is it going to be anything beyond that? That same type of testimony?
No, that's it, Your Honor. I mean, it is how do gangs use music, period.
What's your question going to be?
Whether or not he is qualified to do any interpretation of music, rap lyrics, as relates to his expertise in gangs. Not whether or not he's familiar with communication patterns of gangs, but specifically whether he can look at a particular rap lyric and make any interpretation about what that means to gangs, specifically in regards to this case.
Is that something that was already covered in the Daubert hearing?
Yes.
All right, we're not going to recover it. I mean, I don't have any reason to not believe this witness.
Understood.
Okay. Let's get the jury. Well, honestly, we should just let the jury go out to lunch at this point. How long are we going to be with this witness?
Your Honor, probably about another hour and a half, if that.
All right. Do we know whether lunches are here yet? They're not? All right.
All right, ask for continued objection in regards to that, please.
Okay. Let's get the jury back in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to get you back out here only to tell you that I'm going to release you for lunch. I sort of had a thought about something when y'all were on the way out that I think we need to probably take care of before we continue with the testimony of this witness. So I'm going to release y'all for lunch, and if y'all could be back at 1:15, please. Thank you. Okay, you can go ahead and be seated. So actually, in the last 2 seconds, Ms. Persefield has received the rough of the Daubert hearing. So she's going to send that out to everybody. And if it's already resolved, then it's resolved and we can all just go to lunch. If not, we'll stick around here, do that little bit of a Daubert hearing, and then go to lunch. So just give us a few seconds, or, well, a few minutes. Part of it, not all of it. So honestly, you know what, Ms. Persefield, how about you be looking, and why don't we just go ahead and do our mini Daubert?
Your Honor, we found it online too. We could share it if you want to do it that way too.
Oh, if you found it and we have an answer, great.
No. We have the YouTube position.
Oh.
Didn't watch it yet.
How long? I mean, I would imagine it's pretty long, right?
It's an hour.
I have it, but I didn't see the length.
I was here for an hour.
Unless that's searchable.
I was here for an hour.
You were here for an hour?
Yes, in my Daubert here.
Okay. I don't think it's...
Wasn't here long.
Yeah. Yes,
That is so cool.
most of the time. So if you give
For
me
words?
yes,
That's amazing.
if you give me a few minutes,
Okay.
we'll know if this one is searchable.
Did you send it to me? Somebody be looking at the transcript that we have, and
Can you share the YouTube link with the state?
This is sharing it with the state and recording right now.
Thank you.
yeah, I think it just takes a minute on our internet for things to get. Detective Dennis clearly testified about lyrics and understanding what's going on in the music, and it maybe just meaning something to the average listener and other people, to other things to members in a gang. So
That's page 16.
well, what I'm looking at is page 51, but this was covered and he was qualified, so I'm satisfied. Page 51, 52, 41. 55. 16. All right, so he's qualified. We're breaking for lunch. See y'all back at 1:15.
Detective Dennis, as a gang investigator, did music sometimes come up in your investigations?
Yes,
How did it come up in your investigation?
a lot of rappers participate in gangs, and so it often came up.
And as an expert, when you said a lot of gang members rap, do gangs in your experience use music in order to promote their gangs?
Yes,
Do they also use music and sometimes to promote fear and violence in their music?
yes.
I think it's, if you could focus more on what his training and experience with regard to that is.
Sure. Tell the court about your training experience in using music as a part of your gang investigations.
In my almost 10 years in the gang unit, we investigated countless different gangs, gang members, music, literature, social media. Like I said previously, nothing was off limits. And music, like I said earlier, a lot of times we weren't investigating the music, we were investigating the crime, and the music came up, or someone made us aware of a song that referenced something in reference to the crime in which we was investigating.
And as you heard those songs, how did you then use that as a part of your investigation?
That helped understand sometimes why a retaliation happened, or were they taunting a rival, or were they highlighting something that they did or something like that, and that helped us investigate what we were doing.
And how often over your 10 years of being a part of gang unit would you say music came up in your investigation?
A lot. Like a percentage?
Yeah.
I couldn't even, 75% to 100%, I don't know.
Okay. And have you ever had the occasion to teach on how music and gang culture, about music and gang culture?
Yes, I think I said last time I had a presentation that I talked to other investigators and students about hip hop and gang culture and how they go hand in hand.
And how many times have you done that presentation?
More than 10.
More than 10. And just tell the court a little bit about what you talk about in that presentation.
In the presentation, I basically used movies, music, and showed through entertainment how in the African American community, they can be brainwashed through entertainment, and how gangs has been pushed on the African American community through entertainment. I think I referenced last time the movies Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. I didn't know what a Blood or a Crip was until I saw Colors. All of that is through entertainment. Same thing with music.
If you could tell the court briefly, what were some of the songs that you used as a part of your presentation?
Part of my presentation.
I'm more interested in his own training than his teaching other people. I mean, I get that he must have had something from which he could then teach other people, but we're skipping that part.
So again, over the course of your tenure, you said you maybe had about 75 to 100% of your cases are with, may have had some type of music involved in your investigation. Have you had you yourself training specifically on how music can be a part of your gang investigations?
I took every gang class that they offered us. We took gang training through Gypstick. We took training in other jurisdictions. We took whatever gang training was offered in an effort to learn trends, music or what have you. We also had monthly meetings with other departments, and we also information shared about music, gang trends, and different things, because a lot of times something that was happening in Atlanta or happening in another jurisdiction eventually was going to come to Atlanta. And so we often shared this information over the course of my years through my training and my own background. I was able to decipher a song, decipher movies and entertainment, and understand what's being said. And through interviews with individuals involved in our investigations, a lot of them would help us understand some of the music and some of the lyrics that they were saying.
Course indulgent.